Hello everybody, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we are returning to the Great War Western Front, a new game out by Petroglyph Games, which is both a turn-based and real-time strategy and war game set in World War I. This is episode number 15 now, I think it is, that we are playing in our Central Powers Let's Play campaign, and we've been attempting to overwhelm the Allies in the north up near Ypres, and driving toward Calais. We are trying to take Hazelbrook, which is the hex adjacent to Calais. If we take Calais, that's the British capital as far as the game is concerned. That's where all the British supplies and manpower flow through onto the continent. And so it's a very important hex, and it is within striking distance. We have to win one more battle at Hazelbrook, a sweep. We have to take every objective, and if we do that, then we are adjacent to Calais and perhaps can win the war. Maybe we can drive on that channel port and end things. But we'll see if that's the case, you know, once we fight that battle. So today's video is going to be us attacking Hazelbrook and trying to take that final star, trying to take that hex adjacent to Calais, and seeing if we can really win the final victory in a campaign that has been a pretty long one to take this hex. But we'll see if we can manage that in this video. I'm gonna go ahead and jump back in. This is from our live stream from a couple days ago, and hope you guys enjoy. Do I get to keep the MGs? I don't. I feel like you should be able to keep machine gun emplacements if they're not destroyed. That would be cool. All right. 4 days of bombardments. The enemy still did not link these two lines, which I guess works to my advantage. They did set up new entrenchments, though. There's two forward positions here, although they may have been destroyed. It doesn't look like they've rebuilt them as far as I can tell. We're going to try a balloon. This time we're going to put the balloon behind the front. Oh wait, no, don't do that. Not there. That was dumb. I just can't see crap. I mean, I guess alternatively we could put another line of trenches in front. Or we could focus on point B and move. We could go the other way. Instead of focusing on point A, we can go for B. The only thing is they usually put a bunch of their artillery over here, and so it's easy to take out the artillery earlier if I take A. But that is an interesting idea of focusing on B first. I feel like it's a little bit less straightforward of how I would take B. Although a balloon on B would be... A is a better spot for the balloon. So that's what we're going to do. All right, we're going to build a new line of trenches up there. Put the balloon in behind them. Put some barbed wire that will hinder my advance, but at least in theory we'll slow them down if they do try and go against us up there. And then 1 MG to cover the balloon. I don't want to waste too much more resources on the defensive though, so that's about all we're going to do. We'll throw a line of conscripts in this front line.
Und warten auf Befehle.
All right, that's a lot of troops who are not intended to directly participate in the assault, but that's okay, I think.
Verstärkung bereit. Wir sind eingetroffen und warten auf Befehle. Wir kommen wohl zu spät zur Party.
All right. The assault force will consist of 4, 8, 10 elite units. The artillery, what do these do? Fires 3 explosive mortar rounds at target position. causes suppression, so... But this is only a defensive thing, really. Like, it's not likely they're going to have the range to hit the enemy. These are just defensive trench mortars, really. Okay, light field artillery to support the assaults on both of these positions. And then 1 heavy artillery. All right, that should be good enough for heavy artillery and gas. They're not gonna 10 minutes later, yeah. Okay, let's see what the enemy has in store for us. Let's begin the battle. Did I not do the siege bombardment? I hope I did. I think I did. All right, let's see what the enemy did. Okay, so they did build out that line of trenches in front that looked destroyed from the previous battle. All that does is mean that we are even closer to their lines. Interesting that I wonder if the AI takes into consideration your attacks from previous battles, because they are building out the trench line on A a ton, which is where we always attack, whereas at B the front line here feels, at least on this left flank here, feels pretty exposed. Granted, they have 2 lines of trenches here, but still we can just move through this line. If we have to fight here again, I think that's where I'll attack. All right, so let's do this. These guys are all... All right, gas will hurt all of... Well, morale doesn't matter, though, for machine guns, and this is only tear gas, so it doesn't... It's not lethal. Let's go for the MG nests. They did not build many MG nests on this map. I do not see much. Interesting. Could they be low on supply? Like, could that be a reason? They are going to launch another attack against me this time? Again? Oh, AI. You're very mysterious at times. I didn't launch a gas attack, guys. We did a pre-battle bombardment. I suppose they could be running for that reason. But did they literally just evacuate that entire trench pretty much? Because it looks like it. Alright, their bombardment for sure is going to come soon. Alright, they're not going to get to that line there. That whole northern objective, like that whole second trench line, is pretty much empty. Alright, they're going to bombard my machine gun. That's fine, I don't care. Go for it. Well, I don't love that you're going to get hit probably on the flank as you move forward, so why don't we do this? All right. We're not going to wait 5 minutes. I'm okay if they want to focus their arty on my MG nest, though, just because in that case they're not hitting my frontline troops, which are mowing down their sporadic assault. All right, so I think they've just got the one MG up here. Come on, there we go. Advance behind the rolling barrage, boys. You're gonna run through enemy arty, aren't you? Okay. All right, into the trench lines. All right, we're dropping suppressing fire and a rolling barrage here. The second wave of troops as they come in. All right, we took one portion of the trench. We took a second portion of the trench. There we go. These guys are coming forward, right?
In Stellung gehen! Wir haben neue Befehle. Bereit an der Linie!
They're attacking my center. Well, the good thing is they are attacking
Wir haben neue Befehle.
positions which are not as
Warten auf Befehle. Stellung einnehmen!
well. That's a lot of troops.
Seid bereit, Jungs. Bereit für Feuerbefehle. Ladet sie nach. Gassalve bereit.
Okay, boys.
Feuer!
Gas them.
Wir müssen diese Stellung halten.
All right, several enemy units just advanced through there.
Positionen vorbereiten für leichte Sperrfeuer.
The problem with my light artillery is it doesn't really do much on defense. Let's call in one reserve unit here.
Zum Dienst.
These troops down here.
Bereit machen. Auf der Feuerstufe bereit machen.
They're gonna reach the line. Should have put some barbed wire down there. The troops in the south are not as good.
In Stellung gehen! Wir haben neue Befehle. Bereit an der Linie!
They're conscripts.
Wir haben neue Befehle.
All right, well, there's no reason to leave
Warten
these
auf Befehle.
conscripts here,
Linie!
so we will shift them
Bereit machen.
since we've already taken the enemy trenches in front of them.
Feuerstellung einnehmen!
Use those interior lines, boys. We're taking point A. I don't think this attack is strong enough to take Y. It might hurt my artillery here. They already have to some extent. But we did hold, at least in the center. They've damaged a couple of my batteries. They've at least done some damage to that unit, although they haven't destroyed any of its guns yet. Let's move these elite troops here to the right. Both of these elite units are going to move over to the right immediately to prevent against further attacks when the enemy reinforcing that flank. Okay, I do think those gas attacks helped. All right. Look to your lines. Thank you, guys. I saw. All right, we've almost taken point A. The enemy is dropping already on me as I try and move through the trenches. There is one battle going on here. We'll probably lose one of those companies. Damn Belgians. They don't know when they've lost. All right, A is ours. Our people should know when they're lost. When they've lost. Or when they've been defeated, or whatever the line is. Right, get out of there. Draw. Draw. Alright. Green bar is health, white is morale. They're going to have to advance through Arty. Meanwhile, my own Arty will, at least in theory, weaken theirs. Nice. That lead Indian unit got shredded. So did the second one that came in. That was a very effective bombardment there against that enemy attack. Broke it up before it even got started. Is the game free? No, the game is available on Steam, but it is not free. They're gonna try and attack my trenches this way? I'm okay with that. Those are good results. Just chew them up, boys. All right, get my reserves over here. My initial attacks are almost always with the elite troops because they're cheaper when you buy them pre-battle. But as you will have noticed, we do tend to switch over mostly to regular infantry for our assaults after the initial success. And we sort of leave those elite troops there in place until... just until they die. Oh god. That's a lot of enemy troops moving forward here. We don't, our trenches are not exactly faced in the right direction. They're coming in on the flank. I don't really know, like this will probably just hinder my line of sight. Rolling barrages don't actually seem terribly effective in the use of, yeah, all I did was shield my defender's line of sight. In terms of actual destruction, rolling barrages are not terribly effective, it does not seem. Why don't you go destroy these guns? Okay. Oh wow, they survived. Okay, well we're gonna withdraw you. All right. That worked out. So we have 14 minutes left. We're working on destroying this enemy battery. We're going to move these troops forward into this trench line. Draw these troops. Let's actually buy just a couple new elite troops. All right, we got that battery. Moving those guys forward. All right, boys. Forwards. We should at least keep one unit on this objective so they can't just like swoop in without our knowledge. How long does it take them to clear? Okay, there we go. Okay, some trench fighting going on here. Reinforcements are on the way. All right, get up there so you can get in position by the time that lead unit dies. Go forwards. Those guys are getting shot to pieces in the open. The enemy is using a lot of their resources up here. You can see the blue line is well more than halfway through. So they have consumed a considerable amount of their forces. I don't know if they can actually get out in time, those guys. Okay, so this may just attrit them down to almost no resources, which would be great. That would make our job a little bit easier. I don't know how effective the heavy artillery on comms trenches is. It's definitely suppressed, although they're doing some damage there. These enemy counterattacks over the open ground are not well thought out by the AI. What are these guys doing? Why are they just chilling in the command trenches? All right, that Belgian assault's gonna fail. We are using time. I mean, I guess that's the one negative here. We only have so much time to use. Traffic jam in the trenches. All right, I feel like we've got a little bit more buffer on supply here. Although keep in mind that all the supply that we use that comes from sort of off map rather than in these units will factor in how much supply we spend on the global supply, which will influence how much we can attack in other hexes following this battle. All right, let's try to push up here. These guys forward. But they keep calling in more and more troops. Shit, I forgot about these guys down here. One problem with the way the game works with the 2 limit of units moving in trenches is just that you really do struggle. Like these units up on the other side of the trench, in theory, they could be shooting down on the enemy units in the trench. But because of the way the game mechanics work, that doesn't happen. Okay. Go take that objective. I'm curious if the enemy still has 2 fresh units in its command trench or not. I guess we'll find out here in a moment. We still have 7 minutes left, which is not a ton of time, as we witnessed in our last battle. It is not going to be enough troops to take that objective. But we do still have a siege bombardment left and enough supply to use it, so... Alright, go take the command trench. That'll pause the time for a minute, 2. Oh, there's troops in this trench too? Taking the objective. Suppression cleared it for these guys to get to the trench. I think 1 healthy infantry company versus 2 badly bloodied French ones is enough. And it is. Temporarily, the Belgians are going to counterattack down there too. Alright, this will lengthen the amount of time that we have on the pause, I think. Okay, we're taking that command post. We should wipe these 2 Belgian companies out here now, and then we can go move in on their artillery. We'll go finish them off, and then we'll move into the woods and move down to B with 7 minutes to spare. Are there a stat difference between the different infantry? There is. I don't understand all of it fully, but like there's also a major price difference. So like the French troops are much cheaper than the British troops. I think that's supposed to do with like you're in France and their population is way higher or something like that. But yes, there are different stats for different units. All right, so we will probably move some of these troops forward too in the assault.
Wir haben neue Befehle. Ausrücken! Warten auf Befehle. Wir sind unterwegs.
We took the objective. So the clock is running. I do not have enough troops for this assault. Let's go ahead and probe ahead with you guys so you can see what's out here. Let's also do this. Balloon busters. Go get them. Also, I don't know what the cooldown on this is, but I think we've got time to do a siege bombardment. And what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to do it south of the objective down here, mainly with the hope that it destroys this trench and the link. So that way it can perhaps hinder the reinforcement of B. If we can destroy their link, then they've got to cross open ground, which will give us a much better chance of holding. Also, the enemy's like got to be almost out of men. If we look at this little blue line up here. For balloon busting mission. Yeah, they have no troops in this rear trench line. So this may be easier than I thought. Also, I think we did destroy this connection there. Move down the trench more quickly, boys. Cut off any reinforcements. Only one MG there. I think what we see here is probably all they have. Let's drop gas on them. Get out of the trenches, boys. I can't breathe. Sorry, that's probably in bad taste, huh?
Warten auf Befehle. Bereit an der Linie.
All right, they're going to attack across no man's land to objective B. They have paused the clock, but at least our total clock is stopped. And now we've got our troops just mowing them down. Just like I said, if they have to cross open ground to get to here rather than moving through the trenches, they're not going to fare as well. And there you go. They're just getting mowed down in open ground. The one Belgian unit here didn't get kicked out of their trenches by the gas. By the way, that's what happens when you've got gas and the enemy hasn't researched mask technology. They basically evacuate the trench when they're under gas attack. Okay. So if they develop gas mask tech, then they can stay in the trench even when you gas it. I will say I think the tech on gas masks is probably way too high. If you think about it, in World War I, almost as soon as the gas tech was developed, they had masks of various sorts. So it wasn't quite the decisive factor that the game kind of plays it out to be. Yeah, I better hope they don't get gas. That's true. All right, so we did successfully win this battle. Clean sweep. We took Hazelbrook finally from the enemy. Only 700 gold expended, so it wasn't the costliest battle. We also had quite a bit of supply left toward the end. The enemy lost 10 heavy artillery pieces, 45 raider infantry, 10,000 infantry. We lost considerably less than that, about just shy of 5,000 infantry. And 2 artillery pieces. So a nice clean victory there. The good weather and keeping the balloon in place really helped us. Also, I think using the siege guns to cut that trench line basically ensured that final suicide attack by the enemy. Hey, Hauser, how you doing? All right, so a victory there. 12 national morale for us, negative 21 for the enemy. It's getting pretty desperate for the enemy. 20 more such battles and they will surrender. Hazelbrook is ours. And you can see we've pushed deep into the enemy flank. Now, the enemy units were not destroyed. They were pushed back. And it looks like the bulk of them retreated to the Bray-le-Bussière. Our own troops, many of them move forward. Although the siege gun, well, half the troops move forward. Some of them did move to Hazelbrook, which we now probably want to reinforce as well. just because the enemy could counterattack there. Do we have our aviation there? We don't. So let's move our aviation and then forward. They could counterattack at Ypres toward Lille, but that seems like unlikely. We'll just keep 4 corps back at Lille. Arras is the more well, Hazelbrook seems like the most likely. Arras could be attacked. If it is, we have 4 infantry corps, 2 elite corps, siege, and air. So we've got 6 corps on the defensive. If they were to attack out of there, they'd have 9 and 5 on the adjacent hexes. But yeah, Calais is the next target. We can't, there's no like pursuit phase. I can't move units and then move them again. And there are troops here, so we'd have to attack. It looks like the only troops in Calais at the moment are Canadian, I think, or the Indian. So that's the Indian flag, isn't it? Belgian troops occupy Dunkirk. Look at this border gore up here in the north. Hell yeah. All right. I don't know. My understanding is if you cut them off, then they are reduced by like 1 star per turn. I believe the manual says if they are surrounded, they will lose strength. But I don't know if that's true or not. I haven't experienced that. I also don't know the impact of taking Calais because it is like a capital hex, so it might actually, I don't know what it does for the British if they lose their capital. All right, so victory there. We'll go ahead and move forward to the next turn, see if the enemy launches any counterattacks. It does not look like they did. We got 1,600 more gold, 2 more research points, so that brings us up to 3. Demoralize them, Canada. The Battle of the Somme begins. One other thing I really don't understand is why are there these national will effects for battles that historically occurred, but which are not occurring in this game? Like, it's almost assuming that everything that happened historically continues to happen in addition to what we're doing, but that doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, it adds some flavor, I guess, but... All right, defeat 2 Canadian infantry companies and get 400 gold. Meanwhile, the enemy's brought 10 corps into Calais. Bray also has 10 corps. And Dunkirk has 5. Ypres has 7. So that's a thing. They did move units into Calais to hold. So here's the question. First off, I can only assume there's going to be a massive enemy counteroffensive toward Hazelbrook. They could attack 4 times in a turn. So we'll have to make sure we're ready to hold there, which I think we are. We should build a field hospital. It reduces the cost after battle. And then we could also build a depot here. Although I would worry that would, like, I think one thing to keep them off balance maybe is to continue attacking, maybe? I don't know. I don't think they're going to attack Arras. Let's move that siege gun to Hazelbrook. I can use the extra supply. I don't know if taking Dunkirk helps. Like what I've heard is that units don't permanently get destroyed. I don't know if that's true for fully surrounded units or what. So like if I destroy them at Ypres, I think what happens is they may just get the British units back at Calais and newly raised French units at Paris. If we take Calais, though, they don't have, I assume they don't have the ability to raise any more British troops. I'm not 100% sure of that. All right, high yield explosives and then concrete pit gets us to chlorine gas. You're thinking more about my lines. I'd rather go for Calais, though. Like if I've got to attack, if I take Dunkirk, that's 3 attacks. I guess the enemy would be easier to overwhelm as they only have 5 corps there right now. But then that's 3 turns at least to take Dunkirk. And then I've got to take another 4 turns to take Calais. Like, I suppose it frees up these corps of mine to move elsewhere by shortening our line. But I can do that after I take Calais. All right, so I'm kind of tempted to do the triage tent and then just go right to makeshift gas filters just because I'm scared the enemy's going to develop gas. Alternatively, high yield. We haven't seen trench mortars for the enemy, though. God, I've got to spend so much just to get to chlorine gas. Of course, I need bunkers. Which means trench reinforcements. Alternatively, we could try to go down the tank route. We've already researched everything but bunkers. But I'm a gas man. That sounds weird. All right. We'd still have one research point left we could devote toward camarade morale. Eat less beans. Let's do that. All right, we are going to hold Hazelbrook. I'm pretty confident we'll hold, but let's go ahead and buy that second level depot just for the extra supply. And then we will save the gold and fight next turn on the offensive at Calais. It's got to be a fall offensive toward Calais. Bray Montreal to encircle the north of France. I mean, yes, but Calais is... I mean, Bray is another target. We almost took it previously. I just think Calais makes the most sense in a short term. Right? Like 2 turns here. And then those units go somewhere else, and very likely they go to Calais and make it even harder to take. It's 4 stars either way to take the port. They did not attack. Interesting. Maybe they're really exhausted in the supply. We kind of saw that last turn with as few machine gun nests as they had. They may have just been too exhausted. So I can't get the chlorine gas quite yet. I can do concrete pit, and then we can get chlorine gas next turn. Let's go ahead and buy more supply. And should we begin the assault toward Calais? Shall we do it? We will have 4 regular corps, 5 elite corps, 1 conscript corps, so a total of 10 infantry corps, a air wing, and then 3 siege artillery batteries. Do we have any newly raised troops? Nope. All right, let's go for the channel port, boys. Don't you think I should get the surrounding areas? No. Because by taking Calais, I think I might eliminate enemy reinforcements. Like, I think this might be effectively the only way to eliminate British units, is that you eliminate the place they come on the map. Unless they just end up showing at Paris. I'm not sure what happens when you take the channel port. So let's go, boys. It says stalemate. But before we do jump into the battle for Calais, we are going to wrap this video up, and we will pick it up next time in our next episode. Until then, however, this is the Historical Gamer playing the Great War Western Front, a new game out by Petroglyph Games. It is our Central Powers Let's Play series, and we'll see how things play out in our next video. In this video, we made a big victory, or had a big victory, by taking Hazelbrook, a long time goal, I will say, of this series. We've been attacking for quite some time, so fitting for World War I, but we did manage to take there. And actually, we've managed to push forward on a 2-hex front. So if you remember, we took Arras near the beginning of the war, and now we've taken Hazelbrook, which effectively widens that breakthrough. That breakthrough at Arras allowed us to have a 2-hex assault on Hazelbrook, although most of it came from Arras. So it's almost like we pushed forward, 40 miles and then pivoted north and began attacking toward the channel. And we had some success there. So There's some discussion in the chat and the live stream that maybe we should go for Dunkirk instead. It seems like an easier target. We're still going to have to reduce the pocket even if we take Calais. But I really want to focus in on Calais because that is effectively the British capital as far as how this game works. But we'll see if we can take it in the following turns. Until the next episode, however, this is the Historical Gamer saying I hope you guys are enjoying the series. Please leave your thoughts down below, and until next time, I'm out.